So we're back and we're pretty much almost at the very top, so I am going to turn it off and I'm trying to get to the panel here. Okay, where is the panel? Here we are. Oh yeah, the other neat function is that there is a light, so you could read a book or something and just relax with whatever. Sometimes I listen to music, sometimes I read. So that light is a really handy little feature. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the machine. I'm turning off the spare oxygen. And we're going to go over to this side. So it's now starting decompression. And this valve gives me the opportunity to make it go a little bit faster if I want to, or to keep it at a pretty consistent slow level. So as you see, I can manipulate, I can turn it all the way. It will go really fast and your ears will pop, or you can go very slowly. So it has these little holes here, and so the more you turn it towards the open, the more the pressure will go fast. There is the gauge, so you see it's at 40, it's going a steady one by one. So if I open it all of a sudden, it'll go much faster, as you can see now. But you'll feel that in your ears, so you may not want it that fast. So you can control it. You can just go very slowly. And I probably should have mentioned that in the same way when the chamber compresses, if the compression is too fast for you and you're having a hard time equalizing your ears, you can actually open the valve and that'll let out some of the pressure. And then that gives your ears an opportunity to adjust also, and then you can close the valve again and continue with the increased pressure in the chamber. So we can go a little bit faster, and again you'll see it'll pick up the speed a little bit. We go all the way, it'll go really faster. And it just depends on how your ears are feeling. Usually I'm not in a rush to really get out, so I just usually go with a pretty slow and steady kind of pressure drop. But for purposes of the video, I'm going to drop it pretty fast now. And then as soon as it hits 0, you'll see the door coming down. There you see. And then you can grab this. I usually do that with my other hand. And push the door open till it's set in over here. And then I use my arm and just go out and grab onto this handy bar that they put in. And then I do the reverse. I slide my feet back and kind of emerge from the chamber a little bit. And then be able to pull myself up. Almost feels like you're coming out of a sled. I mean a sled, like a ski sled. And then I step out. And you'll see I'm back out of the chamber. So then what I would do is I would turn off the cooler, turn off the power, and that actually automatically turns off everything. The thing not to forget is your timer. If you do not set the timer back to on, next time you try to start up the machine and you press here to get it all lit up, it won't light up. So you always, you panic, you go, oh my God, what happened? Something went wrong. So you see this is not on. I press it. Nothing happens. Oh my God, the machine doesn't work. What happened? Oh wait, yeah, right. I have to check this timer thing. So you put this back on. And now when you go back on to turn this on, there we are with the numbers again. So that's the trick there. That's one thing not to forget. And then, as I said, you turn all this off, it just automatically turns everything off. So that's pretty much everything I have for you on this MACY-PAN Hyperbaric Chamber. It's the HP 1501. I have a a unit that's capable of doing 10 liters per minute. And I've also, as I indicated before, purchased an extra oxygen concentrator from this company called Nidec, and they were very reasonable in pricing in comparison to others. With this whole COVID situation, it's actually difficult to get these units, so I had to wait several months to get an extra unit. And then the last thing I wanted to point out is what I did is I purchased essentially a garden furniture protective protective cover. And what I do is I put this on because I don't want the UV rays. The hyperbaric chamber is not really supposed to be exposed to UV rays. So I put that on after I'm done using it. And as you can see, the cover is pretty long and pretty wide. So I found that was actually an almost perfect cover. It does take away a little bit from the aesthetics. I would prefer to just kind of show my unit, but it is sort of the centerpiece of my living room. I have no couches anymore, but yeah, it does kind of get in the way of things also. And just one more thing, when you purchase this, you do get a pillow. And I have and a mattress, which I have covered with the linen, just because it makes it easier to wash the linen. But you can take this off as well. And there is a zipper here, and you could take this off and wash the outside of this. And I also put an extra pillow in there just to raise my head a little bit. I was more comfortable with my head up just a little bit more when I put in the extra padding for my knee. If I don't use this, and I don't always use this, then I take the second pillow out. And lastly, when I assembled this, basically you put in this mattress, and underneath the mattress, I don't know if I can pull it out enough, as you see is this is like a wooden panel with with cloth covered, the same material as the pillow. And when I put that in, I used a level to make sure that it actually is really level in the tube of the hyperbaric chamber. And that was really helpful because I had the opportunity to try out a chamber elsewhere, and I felt that I was maybe 5 degrees or 3 degrees at an angle, and it was just really uncomfortable. It just felt like I kept leaning towards one side. And then I figured out that's probably what they did not do, is they didn't level the base that you lie on. So that's all that I have to mention. As I said, I've done a lot of research. I've also purchased the textbook on the Underwater and Hyperbaric Medical Society, which describes a lot of the conditions that they treat. This, of course, is not a hospital unit. You do not achieve 100% oxygenation because you don't want to put a rocket in your house, which oxygen is very dangerous, and it requires a prescription, of course. And so I really don't want to mess with 100% oxygen. So the oxygen concentrators get you to anywhere from 88% to 95%, depending on what oxygen concentrators you purchase. And so even if you average it to about 92%, that is a lot of oxygen that goes into your body, pretty much at that percentage, especially if you use the partial non-rebreather mask. You get the full level of whatever your oxygen concentrator can accomplish. And then the oxygen concentration that is listed here, with my 2, I can achieve, I believe it went as high as 54. It's not always the same because, again, the oxygen concentrators, they have a plus or minus 3 or 4 variation. So if I use just one, I think I get around 42 to 44. And if I use the other one, it does increase it to about 54. So you're never going to achieve 100% oxygen in the chamber because there's constantly going to be exchange of air that's being breathed out and air that's room air, obviously. And but again, at 54% or so, that is a pretty decent amount of oxygen that's being pressed into your body, basically. And you are inhaling close to 100. Let's say you're inhaling 92 or 93, and that to me is pretty close. So you're achieving pretty a fair amount of oxygenation, and I think for most of the purposes that you may want to purchase a unit like this. I myself purchased it for a variety of infection control, I guess. I have some costochondritis and inflammation of my lung sacs, and so I feel I haven't had any of the problems since I started this. And I also had a concussion, which was the other thing that I was treating myself, or am treating myself for with this. And I have no headaches anymore, and my memory lapses have gotten a lot less. I'm obviously still healing, so I don't expect this to change from one day to the next. But that has been really helpful to me. And for that reason, as I said, I feel that this has been the best investment that I've ever made by far. And I feel very healthy. I feel like I could rip out trees. And I am constantly getting compliments on how vibrant I look and how active I am. And so I think it's really doing wonders for me. And as far as the company, I did have one more thing I wanted to mention. There was one fuse that apparently was malfunctioning. And within like 7 days, I had the replacement fuse. And as soon as I contacted them, they immediately diagnosed the problem and sent me the replacement fuse, and it was a piece of cake to put that in there. So it is definitely something that, you know, they're not going to sell you the unit and not going to be there for you afterwards. And I want to give a shout out finally to Lucas Wu, who was my salesperson, advisor, and friend. And he was very patient in explaining everything to me over and over and over again. Sent me photos, sent me all sorts of things that I asked for. Very patient, and like I said, anytime I have any concerns, he's right there. So I am extremely comfortable recommending this company. I have no concerns about whether or not they're going to be there if this, you know, if anything should go wrong. But the fact that this is actually a mechanically based unit, not one that is, you know, hooked up to Wi-Fi that they can access from Romania or whatever. I like the fact that it is pretty simple. I mean, there isn't too much that can go wrong with it. So mechanical things usually tend to last a long time. And so I'm also happy about that. And as I said, it has what it needs. It has a couple of extra nice little things, the lighting, the not the cooler, but the, what is that? The internal fan, sorry. And lastly, too, you know, the wheels can lock into place. So, you know, that's the other thing, is that you don't have to worry that this thing is going to roll away on you all of a sudden. And I like that too, because I want it to be sturdy and steady when I get in. So that's my report on this, and I, as I said, I would highly recommend it. And if you have any questions, I would be available to answer any questions. All right, thank you very much. I wish you aloha from Hawaii. Thank you.